Hey, Matt Morris here, and wanted to do a quick video that I think can add a ton of value to your life, and that is how to read a book. Now, obviously, if you're reading my blog and on my website and so forth, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube, you obviously know how to read a book. But I'm going to give you a strategy that I've used to just completely reinvent my life. See, where I was at 21 years old, I was homeless. I was living out of my beat-up Honda Civic. I was bathing in gas station bathrooms. I showered naked in a church parking lot one night. I was at a very low point in my life, and I made a commitment when I was living out of my car. Learn the concept of modeling, and modeling basically just says if you want to have huge success, find someone who's had the kind of success that you want, figure out how they did it, do the same thing, and you can get the same result. And so one of the greatest ways to model others is to learn from others. And so I'm here in my home office library here, and you can see hundreds of books behind me. Library's got well over 1,000 books here, and over the last 18 years as an entrepreneur, I've read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books. And that has led to a whole lot of success because I'm able to pick out a book of, someone like Jack Welch, who's one of the greatest management gurus of all time. And I'm able to read about how he manages a corporation. And that obviously increases my management skills when I apply that. And so I'm going to give you kind of my strategy, my personal development plan for how I read and kind of what I do with it. And so I take it amazingly serious anytime I read a book. And so right now, for instance, I'm reading John Wooden on leadership, just finishing it up. It's an amazing book. Definitely recommend you read this. And so in reading the book, here's what I have handy when I'm reading. Now, I carry this in my backpack when I'm traveling, if I'm on planes and all this. This is what I've got. So, number one, I've got a book. Number two, got a journal, got a pen, and got a highlighter. So here's what happens is, so I go through the book, and as I'm reading, I'm looking for the golden nuggets of information. So chances are you've probably read some great books in the past, but if I told you what did you specifically get out of the book, you couldn't tell me. You forget about it. And so I want to make sure whenever I read a great book, I don't forget the most important parts in it. Now, some people, highlight they'll highlight it. And that's what I used to do. I used to just highlight the book, but how many times do you actually go back and, reread your highlights? It's not very often. And so here's the strategy that I follow. When I'm reading, I've got the highlighter handy, and so yes, I do highlight, but then if I want to commit it to memory, see, if you highlight it, you might remember it a little bit more, but when you rewrite that point, it sinks into your mind quite a bit more. And so I actually take that and I rewrite it into my journal here. So, and then the act of writing it obviously causes me to be able to internalize it more and remember it more. And so I'm taking the most powerful part of the book and I'm putting it in these journals. Now then, once I've finished the book, I reread my notes on that, and then I highlight the most important notes that I wrote. And so you can see here, just from this book, it goes on and on and on, but I've got my highlights in here. Now, this is one of the reasons why, for me, it's very easy to do trainings. It's very easy for me to do blog posts and train on different things that can add value to people's lives because I've followed this process and I've followed it for years and years and years. And so what I've got on my desk here, this is over the last, it's really been about 10 years, 12 years that I've been following this process. I wish I had started it sooner, but these are all the journals that I have used over the last few years. I mean, some of these are totally worn out. In fact, the cover's fallen off of this one here. But what I can do, if I ever need to give a training, if I want to do a blog post and I want to add value to people's lives, I can go back through my journal and I can open up one of these journals and I can, find something powerful on success. And having amassed this kind of powerful knowledge over the years has really made me be able to have success in a lot of different areas. See, I believe if you want to become an expert, the greatest way to become an expert, if you want to be an expert on sales, go read 5 books on sales, follow this process, and that's going to set you apart. See, 99% of the people in the world are going to be too lazy to follow this process. And I'll tell you, here's my whole attitude is I want to continually grow myself over the years, and the way I look at it, it's not an overnight process. People are always asking, what's the one book? There's no one book that you're going to read and it's going to catapult your success and take you to another level. You know, I'd love to tell you can read my book, The Unemployed Millionaire, and your life's never going to be the same because you read it. Yes, it's going to add a lot of value, but there's a lot more than just the Unemployed Millionaire book. There's tons of other books. And so here's the attitude. If you're a tree in the forest, let's say you're an oak tree in the forest, and you had the ability to water yourself. See, reading books is kind of like, it's the growth process. It's how you water yourself. You water your mind, and it's going to produce the fruits of those efforts. And so what I do consistently over time through this commitment to personal development and following this process, so I internalize it, is I grow more than just about anyone else every year by doing it consistently. And so it's that consistent effort over time where I don't have to be. See, I didn't start out as one of the biggest trees in the forest, but I believe by continuing to water myself and following a specific process that ultimately I can become the biggest oak tree in the forest. So this is about you becoming the biggest oak tree in the forest. Water yourself through knowledge, through personal development. Follow this process and watch how it affects your life. Thanks for watching.